Hello and welcome to Solopreneur, the show that helps business owners who are flying solo to solve their big sales, marketing, and systems challenges one episode at a time. You can watch the video version of this episode at solopreneur.com. I'm Gareth Everson, and we're continuing the systems management thread in this episode. And today we're going to be talking about systems management of your processes. Remember on episode 33, I gave you an overview of the 5 main systems management areas that you need to think about. On the last episode, episode 34, we talked about the people aspect of that, the first one of those. Today, we're going to be talking about processes. And in the next few episodes, we're going to be talking about platforms, passwords, and your products. So today, let's get into talking about those processes that you need to manage to make sure that you're able to run your business effectively without those systems going down. Back in the old day, managing your processes in your business before everything was done digitally and using technology, it was about being able to work together probably in the same location with your team and make sure that your sign up and your customer onboarding and your service processes were all in alignment. And you'd probably document those in some sort of guide or guidelines pack that you as a team would use. And you'd certainly get together and discuss and learn and experience through watching one another what those processes needed to look like in order to run your business effectively. And you could really make a difference and you could show that you were different as a business by doing things in the most effective way. Then digital came along, and especially the era of broadband in sort of the mid-2000s, and then from the sort of early to mid 2010s, the growth of online software or software as a service, SaaS as it's called. That era then brought in a whole wave of apps and software and products that helped you to do little bits and pieces of what were offline processes, but in an online world, whether it was task management or invoicing or managing your social media posting or any number of thousands of different use cases of online ways of managing your processes. And that was all well and very exciting as these products emerged and helped us to be more effective and more efficient with individual processes. But has, I would argue, certainly in the 2020s, probably started to happen in the late 2010s, created this digital spaghetti in our worlds as business owners. What we've also got is a situation where when you're managing these processes that you need to manage, whether it's the lead processes or the sales processes or the onboarding type processes, the software that we're now trusting to manage those processes for us, generally speaking, isn't very good at capturing some sort of documented way of how we want to structure those processes. People call them SOPs, standard operating procedures. The software that we're doing to manage this stuff has been so efficiently developed that it's cut out any of that kind of self-documentation piece from the side. And so what we're seeing as a result, and I see this, if not daily, then certainly weekly with my clients, we're seeing this scenario where clients are so tied in to tens of different software products that are doing little bits and pieces, and as a result, never 100% sure that the processes that they need to manage for all of these different activities in their business are getting done effectively. The fact that you're unable in most circumstances to document the processes in the apps that you're using could actually be a position of safety and security for you. Because if that individual app that does X, Y, or Z process for you were to suddenly be unavailable or hacked or inaccessible to you for any period of time, you need somewhere to go to look up how to manage that process independently of it. And for me, having those operating procedures separately documented in a way that you can use as training for new people who come into your team, or use in a way that if you were to ever change software providers for some of these digital things, you've got a means to be able to basically tick off the key parts of that process that need to happen in software or by somebody doing it. For me, that place is Google Workspace. It's an online tool where I can create digital documents, presentation, format type things, so flow diagrams, and also an online spreadsheet. For others, it will be a more offline tool like Microsoft 365, where you've got Excel, Word, and PowerPoint accessible to you on your computer, but you can upload those digital versions into the cloud and store them there. There are other tools that are just purely about documenting processes. Miro, spelt Miro, is a really popular one for managing the flow diagrams that summarize different processes that you're managing. So the software that you're using, and it's an increasing number of software apps these days, shouldn't be the place that you're storing a summary or even a detail of what those operating procedures that need to happen in your business are in order to keep the wheels moving in your business. My expertise isn't in teaching you how to manage employee processes or recruiting processes or accounting processes or those kind of things. My expertise lies in helping businesses like yours to manage your sales and marketing processes in your business. And that's the reason that I've written the Lemonade Plan book. And I talk about Lemonade Plan as an 8-step methodology for keeping the fizz in your customer relationships, from capturing them as a lead through to the final E, which is endorsements. And that's getting reviews, referrals, or repeat sales from people. I developed Lemonade Plan for a number of different reasons. One was a purely selfish reason, to get people to understand that there's more to sales and marketing than just lead generation. And that helped me, for myself as a marketing asset, to convey the importance of thinking about those 8 processes in any business. But actually, the sideline benefit that I hadn't imagined this when I first drafted Lemonade Plan. The sideline benefit to it is that it actually acts as a reassurance to my own clients that they're able to think about sales and marketing as a complete picture by thinking about all 8 steps of the process. So if it helps you to think about your sales and marketing SOPs, your standard operating procedures, by putting those aspects into all of those different 8 processes, then please do so. I'll provide in the show notes a resource of a simple downloadable summary of what those 8 Lemonade steps are, so that you can use that as, if not just an aid memoir, but also somewhere where you can start to document what your sales and marketing processes should be were you to lose the digital assets that they're being managed on. Or perhaps if you don't have the digital assets that you're managing them on, use it as a start point for thinking about how you want your sales and marketing to run, and then put those into action in your business. So have a think about sales and marketing processes that run in your business. And if Lemonade and the Lemonade Plan is a good structure for doing that, then by all means use my free resources that are available to you. I don't know if you remember back in maybe your corporate days or late 90s, early 2000s, it was very popular prior to all of these online tools for different companies to have what they termed at the time intranets, which was a digital version, an online version of key processes that needed to run in those businesses. I feel that as we've gone more online and we've gone into this digital spaghetti of an app for everything, I feel that we've lost that simplicity of being able to talk about and manage and think about our processes in a single place. So for me, having the Lemonade Plan resource is really helpful, not only for my own business and having my own processes documented in there, but also for helping businesses like yours to understand that in your own world. So what then happens once you've got those high-level processes outlined and documented? Where do you take it from there? Well, if you're a regular listener to the podcast and you tuned in to episodes 28 to 32, you'll have seen a deep dive, heard a deep dive on how to come up with a content marketing preparation plan and an execution plan for getting your content and your ideas and your methods out into the world. And if you haven't listened to those episodes just yet, then I'd encourage you to go back and listen to episodes 28 through 32. It's a 5-part mini series taking you from a high level overview of it through to detailed step by steps of how you can create and publish and promote content that supports your business. So that ties in quite nicely with Lemonade as a process structure. The final thing that I want to cover on today's episode around processes is something that I hope never happens to you at all, and that's losing your website for a period of time. That might be that the hosting has gone down, it might be that you've been hacked, it might be that for one reason or another, you've just lost access to that service. And so as a result, people that want to see your site aren't able to do so. I'm seeing this happening even more in the marketplace as Google has become stricter about security controls and about having digital SSL certificates, so secure certificates to show that it's a legitimate site and it's a secure site. I've seen websites become unavailable through that. I've seen websites, especially, I think something like 40% of websites are built on the WordPress platform, which is an open source code base. I've seen so many sites either go down or get hacked because those open source sites that were once developed by a designer who was in your world and did those sites for you, either you or they haven't kept it up to date and it's left itself open to hacking, either through the database or through outdated themes, plugins, that kind of thing. This is happening increasingly, I think, in the 2020s as cost pressures build up and as the pace of development and the pace of technologies that these hackers have available to them to be able to scale their operations of hacking and bringing things down, I'm seeing more and more people have issues around their site. So what I want to leave you with on this one in terms of processes is one really specific request for you to think about that if your website were to go down or get hacked, how could you bring that back up? How could you manage that? Have you got a backup to it? Could you relaunch it via a different route quickly? What would that process look like? Have you got, for example, the content that you've put on that website accessible somewhere else? It might be just taking regular backups of the website and keeping them locally. It might be having a service whereby you've not only got your live site up, but you've also got a backup, what they call a staging site for it. Give this some thought. I don't want to get into deep technical details around this, but your website is the hub of your business. And so if it's something that plays on your mind about losing that site, don't hesitate to get in contact. It's not a core service that I offer, but I am happy to give you guidance privately around how you might mitigate that issue happening. So I don't want to end on a sour note because there are so many different things that you can get right in your business and can improve upon by having your process as part of your systems management nailed down and have structures and documentation and training and understanding in place to be able to manage all of the processes in your business. Not just Lemonade and Lemonade Plan, but a wider array of processes to manage. I hope there's been some good insights and some good food for thought. As always, you can get hold of me via my LinkedIn. Is probably the best way to get me. If you go to askgareth.com, my DMs on there are open. We can connect on there and have a chat on there directly and perhaps discuss steps that you might take in order to improve in these areas in your business. Next time, I'll be looking at the platforms that we use in our business. So please stay tuned for that. And to get the resources from this episode, please just visit the show notes. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Solopreneur Podcast. Remember that what we learned today builds more value if there's a plan to take action on it tomorrow. So head to solopreneur.com and check out our growing community of action takers and all the training and software that you need to build a scalable business without breaking the bank. And if you value the show, please help others to discover it too by leaving us a review wherever you get your podcasts or by sharing a link to an episode on LinkedIn or wherever your finger does its scrolling.